Councilmember Clayton.
Here.
Councilmember Kendall.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here.
Please stand for a silent prayer, a moment of reflection.
When we're standing now, we're going to ask a little bit longer for the recent shootings in Buffalo, the recent shootings in California, the recent yesterday shooting in Texas. So I hope you give a little bit longer, a moment of silence, a little bit of silent prayer to all these tragedies that are happening throughout the country. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else salute the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 PL 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the following manner. The annual notice was forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Coaster, and the Star Ledger on January 7th, 2022, and posted on the bulletin board at the same date. All notices are on file with the city clerk.
Before we go to any further in the meeting, again, going back to what happened yesterday in Texas, what happened in Buffalo and California last week, and we haven't had a council meeting since the unbelievable Buffalo incident. We put out a release today. It came from myself and Chief Kelso. That's really from the entire administration. And I'm going to say a couple of quick things that I'm going to ask. Amy Quinn's going to read it just because of my sore throat. I apologize. The world's going a little bit crazy. The United States is out of control. On an average day in the United States, more than 35 people are murdered every day by a gun. No other affluent country in the world has a gun homicide rate as high as the United States. Altogether, guns kill about 45,000 people a year. Why? Because of the sheer number of guns in this country and the loose laws about obtaining them and using them. We cannot pass legislation at this level. We're calling on our state representatives and our federal representatives to pass legislation to get this in check and bring this under control. It's very nice to see senators and congressmen on the floor making speeches. What are we doing? What are we doing? But I'm getting tired of those speeches. I'm getting tired of moments of silence. I'm getting tired of going to funerals. I'm getting tired of this. And the sin of it is, it's going to happen again. We don't know when. We don't know where. We don't know what time. We don't know how many. Yesterday's shooting in Texas was the 34th mass shooting of the year. That's 34 mass shootings in the United States in 1 year so far, with so many deaths. It's just a total tragedy, a total sin. So Asbury Park is upset like every other city. And again, I'm not faulting the state legislature, the federal legislature, but they're the only ones that can change this. So Amy will read this now. Thank you.
The City of Asbury Park and the Asbury Park Police Department are deeply saddened by the tragic events that occurred recently in New York and Texas. Deaths as a result of senseless violence are horrific. They're particularly devastating when they are a result of hate crimes or target the young and the innocent, like in last night's tragedy. We pray for the victims while our hearts break for their loved ones, and we're thankful to the brave first responders, police, and EMTs who put their lives at risk every day. In Asbury Park, we've always been mindful and vigilant when it comes to safety, especially in our schools. We have 3 well-trained, experienced Asbury Park police officers monitoring our schools every day. Zone cars are ordered to patrol diligently around the schools with full-time officers. All Asbury Park police officers are highly trained in active shooter response and attend scenario-based hands-on training multiple times a year. Our shot spotter system covers the majority of the city, ensuring that if we do have an incident, officers would be on the scene in minutes, if not seconds, to confront the threat. Officers will be circulating the city and walking through schools that they do not have full-time officers at, including our charter schools and private institutions. Our mobile surveillance tower will be placed in front of different schools throughout the week for monitoring deterrence. Officers will also be on site at dismissal to assure a safe departure and show a strong presence. As we reflect on the loss of life in New York and Texas and around this country, we know that it's more important than ever to come together to overcome racism and gun violence. City Council and the Asbury Park Police Department are proud to serve one of the most diverse communities in the state of New Jersey and are committed to protecting our citizens. As somebody who walked their little child across the street today to Bradley, I saw multiple officers going up and down the street and the alleys, and had regular contact with the Asbury Park School District. So I want to, super commend our police department, our council, our city, and the Asbury Park School District for immediately responding to this incident with increased presence.
And Chief Kelso is here, and Chief, if you would like to add anything?
I just want to confirm too that we'll also be there in the morning. So at dismissal, we'll be in the morning also. If anybody has any questions on the side, feel free to come up and talk.
Thank you. Go ahead.
We're now on to special events applications.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first application is for the July 4th fireworks, which would be on July 2nd. Next is the Siren Arts events that will happen on the beach. The Mind Travel concerts, 5-alarm 5K race, a worship event entitled Light the City, Juneteenth celebration, to care for 10th anniversary celebration in Kennedy Park, the Springwood Park Music Mondays, Girls That Jump, Double Dutch event, Asbury Fresh requesting to use Kennedy Park on Saturdays in July and August, and the Bradley School Bike Rodeo. And the final applications are for 6 wedding receptions to be held in Kennedy Park and 7 weddings to be held on city property this year. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, one other thing I wanted to mention with regards to recreation is that in addition to the summer camp program, I just finalized some other programs that will be offered this summer. Swim lessons in conjunction with the Boys and Girls Club, summer soccer on Fridays, a free music camp, track, and our water park will open June 4th. This will go up on the website tomorrow, and flyers will go in schools tomorrow
Right,
as well.
and let me
Thanks,
just
Lucia.
piggyback on something, and piggyback on something. On the April 28th, we had the Rock and Roll for Recreation, and it was a wonderful event. It was well attended, and we know we netted over $120,000, and we're hoping it's close to 130. So it was a fantastic event. I thank Alicia, Cassandra, I thank everybody who made donations, and we sent a letter to the coasters saying thank you to everybody, and we also said if anybody wants to make future donations, we're still available. And we got an email last week from Mike Piskel from College Achieve Charter Schools, and he made a $5,000 donation and pledged that he would do that every year from here on out. So if there's anybody out there that would like to continue to contribute to our greatest recreation program in Monmouth County run by Alicia Floyd, we're open for the money. So Alicia, thank you again.
Thank you.
And I'm going to thank Alicia and the Recreation Commission for swimming. I know we did swimming lessons, and during COVID, we had to stop them. A huge number of kids in Asbury Park don't know how to swim. So really happy to see swimming lessons back on. Thanks, Alicia.
Thanks, Alicia.
We're now on to items to be presented. We have a presentation by Asbury Partners LLC.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Jennifer Phillips Smith, and I'm an attorney with Gibbons PC, and I'm here today on behalf of Asbury Partners, which is the master developer for the waterfront redevelopment area. We are here this evening to talk about a redevelopment proposal for Block 3904, Lot 1, and Block 3801, Lot 1.02. On 3904, the site is partially improved right now with the Empress Hotel, which will remain. But there is a large surface parking lot that is proposed to be replaced with a structured parking deck and with residential units. The deck will have over 450 parking spaces, with approximately 300 of those parking spaces available for public use. On 3801, we are proposing 156 residential units with approximately 15,000 square feet of ground floor commercial, associated parking, and a pedestrian plaza area right at the tip of the triangle with Cookman Ave and Asbury Ave. We have our architect here today to provide an overview of both parts of the project, as well as our planner, and then if needed, our landscape architect and engineer if there's any specific questions on those areas. We have received the report from the Technical Review Committee dated May 18th, 2022. And with that, Frank, if you'd like to provide an overview of the project.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Frank Minervini. I'm from MDMK Architecture based in Hoboken. We are the architects of the two projects we're speaking of tonight. So we'll start with this overview. And as Jennifer mentioned, there's two projects. We're going to call them blocks 3801 and 3904, even though they're not actually the entire blocks. They're the majority of the blocks. So the first project I'd like to talk about is block 3904, and that's the one I'm showing right here. In terms of its bounding streets, we've got First Avenue here, Kingsley Street, and Asbury Avenue. Directly to our east is the Empress Hotel. The block 3801, which I'll get to after, is diagonally to the southwest, again on Asbury Avenue here, Cookman Avenue here. It's adjacent to what's under construction now, we're calling it the Triangle Townhomes. So for block 3904, which is in essence a 454 space parking garage that has 300 spaces available to the public, wrapped on two sides with residential units. So we've got 89 residential units in this building. I'll give you the overview, then I'll look through the renderings. 89 residential units, 454 parking spaces. Again, 300 of those are for the public. And on two streets, both First and Kingsley, we are wrapping the parking lot, the parking garage, in residential units. And one of the design difficulties we had, and I think we've achieved the solution, was to try and conceal this parking garage as much as possible. We didn't want a 6-story parking garage to look as much as possible like a 6-story parking garage. So the view you're looking at here is from the intersection of Kingsley and First. This is the lobby, and these are the two streets where the residential units are. So I'll go through the sheets, and with specific questions, happily answer. So that's the intersection of Kingsley and First. Further down Kingsley, here is the parking lot, the existing parking lot for the Empress Hotel. One of the difficulties we've got in terms of design, which I again think that we've addressed, is this wall is a blank wall. It's on the property line. We are not permitted to have windows. So we tried to come up with a creative solution to make that facade interesting. So we've taken the same design language you can see here, which is these vertical elements on a bit of an angle, and we continue that around the parking lot, very simply with an LED lighting strip recessed in the wall to kind of mimic what we had on the street side. So again, we didn't want to not address that wall. We know that wall is going to be seen, but we're limited to what we can do in terms of openings and movement in the wall. So we thought this was a pretty good and interesting solution. Very simple. The lighting won't be very bright. It'll be rather low in terms of output. So that's the view that I mentioned with the Empress Hotel parking lot. The next slide I'd like to go to is further down on First Street. So this gets a view of the balconies, so very small projecting balconies we've got on the side. And again, this is just for visual interest. This is the main lobby of the building. Go back one. This is a blow-up of the main lobby of the building. And I'm trying to be brief. I know that council's time is limited. And this is a view you would see from First with the second of the blank walls that we have. That this one faces the Empress Hotel. And this mass you see here is meant to show the raised amenity space that the Empress has. So with that, I think it makes sense to go to the site plan of the building, site plan, ground floor architectural plan. Again, so you locate the building, this is our first floor plan. We've got Kingsley Street here, First Avenue here. Here is the Empress Hotel. As I mentioned, we've got the majority of the building and of the footprint of the building is for public parking. So what we did was we've got public parking in total on four floors, 300 parking spaces for the public. Wrapped on these two sides, which would be the north and the east side, with residential units in the lobby. And again, what that does, it helps conceal what would otherwise be just very large parking structure. That is the conclusion for block 3904. I'll move to 3801, which I've described already where it is. So here's a view of this building. This building is a 6-story structure. So it's 4 residential floors above 2 levels of parking and a double height retail space. So what it has in total, and this site is 1.94 acres, is 236 parking spaces on 2 floors, 156 residential units, and 15,000 square feet of retail space. So what we're looking at here is the main entry to the retail space at the corner of the intersection of Asbury Avenue and Cookman Avenue. This is a view looking at the Cookman side. So what you are seeing is the bottom portion here, the base of the building that houses the 15,000 square feet of retail that I mentioned, as well as the 4 floors of residential above that. Here, the building is set back from the property line in the Cookman Avenue sidewalk with our public amenities. So what we've done, not public, pardon me, the amenity for the building, residents of the building. So we've opened up this space as it views Wesley Lake. Across the street here would be the Wesley Road condominiums. And let's go to the next. This is a close-up view, as you would see walking down the street on Asbury Avenue. You'll notice, and these are the retail entries, you notice that it is raised a few feet above sidewalk. That is a DEP requirement for this site, and if need be, our civil engineer can describe it, but this is governed by requirements of the DEP. So what we've done, we've made continuous, we'll call it it's not a boardwalk, of course, but it is meant to be a wooden walk to mimic that. And this would be the entry and the way you would communicate between the sidewalk and all the commercial spaces. It can be just one commercial space. We've got it designed to be broken up to smaller if need be. This is the residential entry, which is along Cookman. This would be the western side of Cookman. This is a 20-foot setback we've got from the townhomes that are under construction already. And you'll notice this water tank. It is for stormwater retention, and we've got a series of 6 of them that I'll show you on the plan, but the thinking is in terms of architecture, we wanted to make those cisterns or storage tanks part of the architecture and celebrate them rather than hide them. This building and any buildings that we built in this area in the future has to go through extensive efforts for stormwater retention. And we thought this might be an interesting way to have the public and everyone else going by understand that concept.
And just for a moment on the cisterns, those will have to be approved by the DEP, and in the event they don't approve them, then we would have to remove them, from the plans.
Can you go back one slide? I'm not understanding the walk. What is that there?
It might be better if I show you in plan. This is a perspective view as if you were walking down Asbury Avenue, and the building is set back from the property line. So the property line is here. So the face of the building is set back, and that distance where you would have a sidewalk perhaps at ground level has to be raised up a few feet.
To meet flood hazard requirements for the
Yes.
area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So would retailers be putting stuff out in that, or is that a public space? I guess I'm not clear on that.
It's purely to be used for the public, anyone entering the series of retail spaces. And it will make more sense, I think, when I get to it is hard to understand, granted, at this point. Talking about this. This is another view of the stormwater detention tanks. This, however, is Asbury Avenue looking southeast. So that, you can see a glimpse of it This is our 2-story parking and 4 stories of residential above. And finally, the drawing I have kept on mentioning, and I think will help us understand better the raised sidewalk. So this is a ground floor plan and site plan. It's the entire site. So located, here's Cookman Avenue, up here is Asbury. This is the point of the triangle where the 2 avenues meet. So the view that I had just shown that we were talking about is of right here. So this entire section is, in essence, a raised sidewalk off of the main sidewalk that you would access all of these retail spaces. And the way you would access that raised platform is by a grand stair here at the corner, at the triangle corner, or a secondary stair here. So the thought is anyone who wants to use retail spaces that are along Asbury will enter this grand stair here or here and then walk down this raised sidewalk and enter into the retail spaces or the retail space that they want. Same applies for the Cookman Avenue side in terms of entering all the retail spaces. So these 1, 2, 3, 4 retail spaces would be accessed just as I had described by a raised sidewalk that would be entered either on a stair here or a stair here. The lobby I mentioned is here. These black dots that you see are meant to represent the stormwater retention tanks that I talked about. And this is a 20-foot buffer to our property line between this project and the project that's under construction, the Triangle Townhomes. One thing I should mention that at the TRC meeting, the comment was made that we should relocate the originally located loading bay, which was right here, to Asbury. So what we've done, we've redesigned this ground floor plan in response to that comment, moving the loading bay off of Asbury rather than Cookman, because the thinking was at the time that Asbury, because it's probably a little bit less traffic, can more easily support loading rather than Cookman Avenue. So that's the extent of the presentation. Happy to answer questions if needed.
The water tanks, why aren't you hiding them? I'm just not clear on that.
They're pretty big, as you can see, and I guess theoretically we could put them within the building, but the thought here was let's celebrate them. Let's celebrate the efforts that this project is making, as well as any of the projects coming in this area because of the DEP regulations. So the thought again was let's have a tank that is relatively attractive. We can do some accent lighting on it. And anytime somebody goes by this, let them know that stormwater is going there and we're making efforts to mitigate any flood damage or any flooding in the area.
And this is because DEP changed Wesley Lake from tidal to fluvial. And that's why every project from here on out is, I'm not going to say hindered, but challenged with stormwater management, both quantity and quality, because after 100 years of Wesley Lake being designed as designated as tidal, they changed it to fluvial, and it means things have to be raised. With the other project further up on Lake Avenue, we approved is on the pilings, so everything has to be raised, so the flow into the lake is not as quick. So it adds a lot of cost, a lot of extra designing to every project in the waterfront and along Lake Avenue in the CBD, any place near Wesley Lake.
It certainly changed the way the stormwater is calculated and what we have to do in order to meet the regulations. So each project has to frankly do more in order to meet the quantity requirements.
Yeah, good lighting on a water tank just doesn't strike me as.
Well, I figured you were king.
Well, I was going to say, can we require something else is going to be my next question. Somebody called Jen. But yeah, no, I don't see how you good light a water tank. It's like good lighting an electric box. You know, I don't see that happening. But anyway, one other question. Are these condominiums or apartments? I know it says dwellings.
They're for sale. Right? No, rental. I'm sorry, rental. Rental.
They're rentals.
Yes.
Both projects.
Yes.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
I have one question for you. I'm concerned about the porch.
You said that it's gonna be all wood, and in the wintertime, I know that my porch, when the ice get on it, I mean, you can put salt all you want to, but it's still a problem. When
And I
concrete,
should, I mean,
when concrete is more suitable,
it is something we can look at, certainly. The idea is it would be actual wood, be a composite wood of some sort that would be able to withstand the salts and the other regalities of life in the winter here in the Northeast. But it was a way we thought in terms of architecture, of tying it back to the city's boardwalk, which is obviously a giant feature. It is not something set in stone, but we thought it'd be a nice connection to what the city has. Again, it's not real wood, it would be a composite wood of some sort.
all right, thank you. Any other questions?
I've got nothing. Except I was surprised that you moved the loading bay to Asbury Avenue, because I thought that would have been more traffic, not less traffic than Cookman.
So we actually originally had proposed the loading bay for the Cookman side, and the TRC recommended that we move it to the Asbury side.
Okay.
We did,
Less
because
traffic on
because
Asbury.
Cookman is a narrower street.
Okay,
than
I get it,
Asbury
yeah.
Avenue.
Okay. So it's got to do with the size of the street rather than the amount of traffic.
Right.
Okay.
And the traffic coming directly from the boardwalk going to the central business district.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. Now, that is in the memo from the 18th. There's 3 other questions that were asked of us. One was to speak with K. Abnanian about the privacy fence that they're installing on their property. We certainly can speak to them about aligning that design along the pathway, but of course we can't force them to change a previously approved fence. But we'll certainly work with them to align the location of their fence with the walkway. We will look at more native grass species, and we were asked to take a look at enhancing some of the facades, which we will present to the planning board.
What was the last one?
The facades.
Okay.
That's it. So we do have a planner and an engineer and our landscape architect, but I think for the purposes of council, we may have answered your questions. So I'm happy to bring them up if you wish, but if not, we could save them for the planning board.
Does anybody have any specific questions for Keenan or the landscape engineer or anybody? Any specific questions?
Okay,
No, I think, good
Great.
presentation, thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
Point, thank you.
We're now on to matters from City Council.
So our participatory budget committee has been out interacting with members of the community. As you know, the city has designated $250,000 for capital projects to improve community spaces. And the deadline is July 31st. All of the projects that come in will be voted upon by residents of the entire city. And those that are chosen will be adopted into the city council's budget for the following year. We have cards here with the QR code that will help you to submit projects. So get out there and submit some projects to us. We want to see what people want in the city, what improvements we want. I'm going to leave some cards up here, but the committee members will also be out in the community talking to people and help them through the process. That's it. Thank you.
Good evening. I don't have anything special except to say that my heart just goes out to those families that have been affected by the violence, abuse, and violence, and that it is up to all of us to make sure that we raise our voice and that our elected officials do things that we want them to do.
I also would like to just add, take a moment of your time and whenever you're in your little private closet or so, and pray for the city of Asbury Park, pray for our police officers, pray that things go right. As you know, our nearby city had problems, and our police department, city council is up on that. So do what you can in your heart to just say a prayer and keep the prayer rolling. There's a couple other things I want to talk about. Is we always talk about if you see something, say something. On numerous occasions, I witnessed,
and I have talked to numerous neighbors about locking your car up. We have a lot of people coming, new people who come in Asbury Park, and they have a tendency to check your locks. And it happened on my street this past week, but I don't know why in the world they call me at 11 o'clock in the morning with their new people in the area. So I'm saying call the police. There's a lot of people are hesitant to call the police. For some reason, I don't know, but do that. Another thing I want to talk about, we have a lot of dogs in our community. A lot of people love dogs. I have a dog myself, but a lot of people, when you say curb your dog, I think they forget about picking up after your dog. And a lot of complaints have come to me in reference to talking about picking up the poop that dogs put out there. So just a couple of things notice, so think about it and do what you can, spread the news. Thank you.
I have nothing.
Okay. Matters from the city manager?
I have nothing, Lisa, thank you.
Thanks. Matters from the city attorney?
Yes, nothing at this time, Lisa.
Okay. We're now on to the public participation portion of the meeting. May I have a motion to open up the public comment portion of the meeting?
Move to open?
Second it.
Okay, all in favor? Thanks. Public participation portion of the meeting is now open to the public. Any member of the public who wishes to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and there will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Camille Warwick. My address is 75 Reeder Road, Spotswood, New Jersey, 08884. And I'm here to speak in my sole capacity as the Asbury Park FOP president. And I'm here to make a statement on behalf of a FOP member, Police Officer Craig Briner, also known as the dancing cop in this town, who has recently filed a civil rights violation and a retaliation lawsuit against the city of Asbury Park for failing to promote him to the rank of sergeant. Briner has been sitting #1 on the sergeant's list for almost 1 full year. Briner, out of the 15 sergeants that we generally work with in the department, only 11 are on the books right now, meaning there are 4 open spots right now. But the city won't promote Briner. And out of those 11 spots on the books, only 8 sergeants are actually working, but the city won't promote Briner. Besides being short to almost half of the number of sergeants that the police department needs to function properly with or have worked with previously, we also are short 1 sergeant per shift in patrol, which has cost the city, I believe, hundreds of thousands of dollars in overtime, but the city still won't promote Briner. The city has been paying other sergeants and lieutenants, to include myself, overtime to cover sergeant spots. And again, once again, for some reason, the city won't promote Briner. It'll be very interesting to see how much money in overtime the city has paid in the last few years to cover sergeant spots. But once again, the city won't promote Briner. We believe it's because of Briner's involvement with the FOP and because he's the only white officer who broke off from the department-backed union, the PBA, and joined officers of color in FOP. We believe the department's leadership wants to teach Briner a lesson as to what happens when you don't conform to status quo. They want to send other officers a clear message: if you dare to do what you believe is the right thing, you will pay the price with your career. And I personally know that. I urge the city manager to do the right thing here, and the mayor and the city council to ensure that the right thing is done. It's your responsibility. This is the time to make things right. Briner is the only officer in the Asbury Park Police Department who volunteers his personal time to give back to the city. Trust me, everyone else gets paid for it. And I think everyone sitting there is a witness to how much this man volunteers, and he's always made himself available. That man has done so much for the city, from being Easter Bunny to just recently being Easter Bunny, to following Santa around for the kids, to spending time with kids on the east side.
Time's up, sir.
The officer, 5 seconds. and the city wants to be vindictive to this officer.
Okay, finish your sentence.
You got it, sir. Mr. Mayor, Madam City Manager, I beg you to do the right thing by this man who has given the city 15 years of exemplary service, and he's a U.S. Marine. He deserves it. More importantly, his family deserves it, who he has taken time away to serve the people of Asbury Park. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Pam Lamberton, Sunset Avenue, Asbury Park. I wanted to talk about the TRC, the ordinance that created it, and its membership. I have spoken to a couple of council people about this already, so they've heard this. The TRC was created to help redevelopers and subdevelopers speed up the process of getting their approvals. Reading the most recent report that was mentioned tonight, I don't see evidence of that. For minor things that are mentioned, I don't see evidence of professionals providing, being members of the TRC and providing their professional opinions in order to speed up this process. The TRC was created by Ordinance 2626 many years ago. It's comprised of 8 members, and professionals who serve on the TRC are supposed to be reimbursed by the subdeveloper. So their bills are paid. This doesn't cost the city anything to do it the right way. We're supposed to have a Department of Environmental Protection member, a Department of Community Affairs, a professional planner, a licensed architect, the engineer serving on the planning board, the council member serving on the planning board, the chairman of the planning board, and then the developer has the right to name one person to be on that committee. I don't see that kind of membership participating in the TRC meetings. I also don't see the TRC adhering to any generally accepted meeting parameters. They don't have minutes that I know. There was a report issued by our own city planner, who isn't even on the TRC, and isn't supposed to be, because that position is supposed to provide another objective view of the proposal. I think there's a lot of things that could be improved with the TRC. It's a great idea. It's motivated by the right things, and if it succeeds in speeding it up for the redevelopers, that's great for everybody. But I think you need to look at 2626. I think it needs to be rewritten. It also says that it should apply to all of the city, not just the waterfront redevelopment area. So we need our attorneys to look at this ordinance, and it also names of people who are appointed, which is really silly because these people aren't even active or in the city anymore. So this ordinance really needs to be rewritten. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. And we've had the same conversations. I've talked to the redevelopment attorney, and he's looking into it, because you're absolutely right. One of the biggest problems, though, is Trenton. 2 people from Trenton are supposed to attend the meetings, and when we raise holy heck, they'll attend for 1 or 2 meetings, then they don't show up. This past meeting, you're right, they weren't there. This past meeting, Michelle wasn't the planner, because I asked who was the people there, and Michelle wasn't the planner. There's another planner there. And you're absolutely right. This is one of the few ordinances that says specifically who the 8 people are. It doesn't say the mayor or his appointee. It says the chairperson of the planning board. It says the council person on the planning board, a licensed architect. It specifically says that, and the redevelopment attorney has been made aware of, like, we have problems with it, and he is looking into fixing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Rita Morano, 8th Avenue. I agree with Pam. That's another one of the things that has to be corrected. I was just wondering, are we still collecting money for the tables that are on the sidewalks by the businesses?
Yes.
We are?
Yes.
Well, I don't know if anybody looked at the ale house, but there's about a foot left for sidewalk. I don't know if you measure all the way out that curb, you know, the part that comes out to the street, the big curb by the entrance. You have about this much room, I can't measure right, but it's about this much room to walk.
Okay, we'll have somebody check that tomorrow. They're supposed to leave 5 feet
Yeah.
for the sidewalk. We'll have that checked first thing in the morning.
Okay, and the other thing was, I like the new baskets, the waste paper baskets, or whatever you call garbage cans on Cookman and all over. But people are putting regular garbage in those. Aren't those just like for a wrapper or something you're eating and then you drop it in? It's not for people garbage, is it?
No, but go ahead, because I want to answer and take your time. So go ahead with all your questions. I'll answer that later.
Okay, that's true. And what you talked about first thing, I think they should be a security guard at the library. I mean, there's a bunch of characters that hang out about there and use the bathroom. And they're like homeless people. I mean, I feel bad for them, but they shouldn't be using the public library as their bathroom. I think they need a security guard there. It's sort of isolated. And then when you look across the street in the park, you see people sleeping and things like that. It was my first visit to the library. And I want to tell you, it's a beautiful building, and I think they're in the right direction. But I don't understand how we own the building, we own the ground, but we can't tell the committee what to do. I just don't get that part of it. But I think they're heading in the right direction from what I could see from that one meeting. And that's all I have to say. I mean, like, I just want to say one political thing. Everybody should vote on the primary day, because that's the most important day when you pick your candidate. I mean, usually nobody comes out to vote on that day, but it's very important that they do that this year, whichever way they vote. And that's it.
Okay, and you can.
I wanted to say one thing. I
Okay.
saw 7 bags of garbage on the corner of Asbury, you know, where the gas station was,
The Hess?
and Maine.
Oh, Asbury, Maine, okay.
7 full garbage bags laying on the sidewalk, right by, I don't know if there's a store there or what, but it was just, they were just laying there, and I thought that was terrible on Main Street.
That would be checked first thing in the morning also.
Okay.
Okay, now as far as the garbage downtown, you're absolutely right, and that's why the city manager has started weekend code enforcement officers downtown, because either stores or tenants on the second and third floor are using the city garbage cans for the garbage, which is against the law, and they will be summoned. So we now have code enforcement officers working on the weekends and sorting through the garbage to see if they can find envelopes. Hey, John Moore, here's his light bill, here's his water bill, here's this. So give them a summons, let them go to court and explain to the judge. So that is being looked into, and you're right, it was a problem. I'm so happy you called me during the week and said, John, I went to a library board meeting. But you didn't ask them any questions. You come here and still ask us the questions. Next time, go to the next meeting and tell them they need a guard.
They have no microphones there.
Okay, we'll give you a hand mic.
Well, that would be a good idea, because it's
Okay,
like
but you also told me I was right, John. They got more money than anybody, so they should spend it. Like you told
I
me,
didn't
John,
know that.
I spend more in my house than they do in the library. So I'm glad you went. But when
Well,
you
it's like
go,
a
you gotta
PTA
ask
maybe.
the questions there, Rita.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But I think they need a security guard there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Not seeing anybody.
Move to close?
Second?
Wait a second.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Laura Chapman and my husband Colin. We live at 1408 Park Avenue. We bought our house a year ago, and we're one of the 2 houses on Park Ave that does not have a driveway. I called before we bought the house, was told by the parking department, we can get resident parking, no problem, we got it. The realtor told us, the gentleman we bought the house from has had it for years. This year, we were denied. I called, she's like, oh no, they made a mistake, you shouldn't have gotten it. I said, well, the last 15 years, this person that lived in the house, last year you gave it to us, we bought the house on the premise that we would have parking or some, resident parking. I went to the parking meeting in April, and they said that they were gonna work on it, they completely understood, they did a drive-by, they agreed that, it's, we need parking, we need to be given a resident. I've been keeping track, calling James, the parking guy, and he said, well, we've presented it to city council. They're the ones that have to pick the option. And I said, well, now it's almost Memorial Day. I'm starting to hyperventilate. People are coming. We won't be able to park in front of our house or anywhere. And he said to come here and plead to you people to give us permit, a resident parking permit. I don't know what to do. I mean, the gentleman, like I said, we got it last year, no problem, and Guy Jacobs, who lived there before us, got it for years, no problem. And all of a sudden, they're telling us it's a mistake.
No, we don't.
No, okay,
So-
go ahead.
I was gonna say. No, you can't, there has to be a microphone and talk.
Yeah,
But-
so I'm just here pleading my case because James said to come because,
Thanks, James.
I know,
No, and I totally understand what you're saying, because I was at that meeting. I missed the May parking meeting. And then we've never gotten the thing forwarded from James. I think that went to the city manager. I think, what?
No, I haven't seen it either.
Okay, but I think James came up with a good solution that would have solved it, but I think he got shot down at the May Parking Committee by the parking committee, where they wanted to go another route and increase the parking zones for everybody in the city from, like, say, Grand to, like, and I'm being hyperbolic, but from Grand to Bond Street. We're like, we can't increase rates when, like, it'll take 2 meetings, a reading, and July 5th, all of a sudden people in front of their houses are gonna get tickets for parking to, like, Bond Street. So again, James's solution to solve your problem, and there's another problem with, I think, 2 houses on Heck or Berg Street. And I thought that was a good solution. So we have a meeting next Wednesday, and we're gonna try to resurrect that and get you that recommendation to mayor and council and go from there.
Yeah, and
Can I
James has
just ask
also
one
drafted
question?
an ordinance that we will be,
Right?
that we.
But the parking just makes recommendations. They don't ultimately decide, we do.
Right.
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
So if the parking committee doesn't support it, but you think it's a good idea, just bring it to us, right?
Like I say, I wasn't at the May meeting. I was totally surprised they didn't go with James's recommendation,
Yeah.
and they went with a plan that wouldn't fly. And like, so you're caught in the middle between, I'm gonna say, the parking committee disagreeing, mayor and council disagreeing. I agree with James's plan to get your parking as soon as possible. And as much as if we're gonna pass that ordinance, I would even say, well, give them the parking pass up front. I mean.
All right, well, like I said, James has been working on the ordinance, and I think you have another parking committee meeting coming up, and then
Yes,
we'll,
the
we
first
can put it on for the
Wednesday
next
of the month,
agenda.
which is next week, and I'm hoping we can resurrect that there and solve your
Well-
problem.
all right, so I'm gonna be here on Wednesday.
Okay.
I'll come to the meeting again, because, I mean, I have a mother-in-law that's on oxygen, and I mean,
You can apply for a handicap space
yeah,
if
but
you have.
she's not by us all the time. I mean, we drive her, and
Now,
this
is a unique problem where there's only 2 houses there without driveways, and you did an excellent job presenting it at the April meeting. And again, I missed May when I saw like the minutes. I was like, wow, what happened? I wish I was there, because I would have voiced my displeasure, like the parking committee didn't take James' recommendation to help you, because we can't like do something that's going to dramatically affect, like, let's say 200, 500 residents, when all we're looking to do right now is help you and 2 other people. So that should be our goal. Let's get you solved this year, and then worry about the future years after this year. So you can, Wednesday night at 5:30 here.
okay, see you there, it's a date.
And then again, I apologize, like, I like James's solution. I thought it was worked. I thought it was a common sense solution to solve your problem and solve the 2 people on either Heck or Berg. So I'm supporting that.
Yeah, when I spoke to him yesterday or the other day, he said, well, we presented ideas to the city council, and they're
No ideas have
it's
been
on
presented.
their lap, and I'm like,
No, nothing's been presented to us yet.
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll have to
Good
scold
evening,
him.
Mayor and Council.
He's right there and he's shaking his head, so James is here.
Oh.
And he's saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
Grand Avenue.
City council yet. I said, we're trying to get it to the city council, I brought it to the park committee.
Oh, That's why I came here, because you said to come.
I said this is the next place. If you want to voice your opinion, you can come here.
Well, thank you for coming, because now we know what to
Now
expect.
everybody knows about it, so just me. I support James's resolution to solve your problem. Thank you. Go ahead, Louise.
Are we ready, Lisa? Something going on that we don't know. Louise Murray, 1604 Grand Avenue in Asbury. I am very happy to see that the gay flag is going to be on the municipal pole. So therefore, there should be no reason that the city yard or anyone in the city puts the banner between 7th and Sunset Avenue. They always seem to put it up there on Route 71, which is illegal if you check it out. It's not supposed to go on a pole, a utility pole. So I am happy that the gay flag has a home. Just make sure I don't see it on Route 71.
Okay, I'll answer that at the end. Go ahead.
Because last time, every time it's up there, it's got to be bracketed up there, and someone from City Yard puts it up there. And besides which, it's so conveniently in front of a business that I think has to do with gay pride or whatever. So anyway, look into that, John, please. And you don't have to hear my mouth again. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't know you were done, Louise. Listen, anybody on Main Street or any state street, city street, county street can put in an application to both if it's a county street, but this is a state street, they can put an application to the state, and they can put an application to JCP&L to put up a banner. The city puts them in every year to put up the Christmas ornaments or other like festivals or carnivals coming. So people can apply for them if they get permission.
But why? Why is it necessary?
Because they want.
No, it's necessary because I think it has to do with the business that they're putting it in front of.
So if I had an Italian deli, I could apply to the state to put up an Italian flag in front of my store. And if the state, then you're going to have to argue with the state. If the state gives the permit, we cannot override the permit.
But it's.
I agree with you. City employees cannot put it up unless we're cities reimbursed.
So what do you need? You need a permit from Highway 71, the state
Correct.
highway.
And then you need
one from Jersey Central Power and Light. I would be curious to see those permits.
Okay, correct. So if a flag goes up there, you have every right to open request to see
All
those
right,
two permits.
And then we have to pay our people.
Correct. I
go
said
and put it up.
nobody from the city should put it up unless the city's reimbursed.
Why is it so complicated, though? Why aren't they happy with it over here in front of City Hall?
Like I say, anybody could apply any place. It
All
could be,
I'm just saying.
okay, but
Okay,
if
thanks.
one goes up and you could, by all means, ask for the permits, and if they're not provided, then the flag will come down.
John, you know how long it takes to get permits? 6 months.
Okay, Rita. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I won't be long. I'm Tim Clayton. I've been a resident in the city of Asbury for many years. Just one thing I would like to touch on. I'm not here to bash anybody or, cast any, just not here to just, like I say, throw any bashing on, but I'm here to just send some words of encouragement for everybody in the city. For one thing, that no one is above God. That's number one. Number two, nobody is on this earth owns anything. He owns everything. He's placed it in. He has given it to all of us to share. Not to hoard, not to say I own this, I own that. This is mine. That I just sat right here for just a tad bit. And so we don't understand it. It'll turn into something big. We gotta like, where's our hearts at? And my question to Mr. Mayor Moore, good seeing you. What is your vision? What vision do you have, and what direction do you foresee for the city? And can anyone put their faith and trust in you as far as you being the mayor in the city and your staff. You know, what direction are you going in? Because a lot of the residents here in the city, they don't feel like they're part of what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been here for a lot of years, and I don't see that we're equally, you know, involved. You know, and that's not good. That's sad to me. And like I said, you know, we need to do more loving on each other instead of, you know, all of this. I mean, half of the folks that's in the city, I don't know everybody. You know, it would be good that we all get to know each other, and that's the problem. We don't. We look at each other, and that's the first thing. We look at colors. It's got to stop. And my mother, like I said the last time I was here, my mother was murdered in this city, 85, and you know, the murder hasn't still been solved. But that's neither here nor there. But the point that I'm making is, we got to stop. We got to start really looking at the bigger picture. Stop, you know, thinking that we're above this one and that one. No, you're not. You know, we're all one human race, and that's just it. And that's all I have to say. And, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And as far as my vision for the city, to keep it as a great city and a very diverse city. And as far as like specific goals, I could 30 different subjects, so I'm not going to go in there. But you know, I'm readily available. We've met, and everybody has my phone number. I have a home number, 732-988-7915, and I have a city number, 908-489-1887. My email address is john.moore@cityofasburypark.com. Being retired, I can basically meet people very frequently. And so if anybody has any concerns, and again, I'm sure the entire council feels that way. And Monday night, there was a service at Springwood Avenue Park, sponsored by Reverend Van Sant. And I know 3 council people were there. Myself and Yvonne Clayton weren't there because we had a planning board meeting. So, I mean, we're all in this together. I think we go to more events than any council history. So, but if we're missing something, please give a yell, tell anybody you know. Hey, John's not a bad guy. He's a pain in the butt sometimes, but give him a call and he'll meet with you. He'll talk with you. And if he can do something to help, he'll definitely do something to help. And you know I will, because I've met with you, I've met with many people, and I have an open door policy where I don't have an office at City Hall, but you can come sit on my porch, I'll meet you someplace.
I hold you to that. I will hold you to that.
Oh, well, I'm a man of my word.
My schedule, not to cut you off, my schedule is, because I work at night, I work for the Board of Education in Uptown, so my schedule is from 3 to 11:30, but we'll work something out. I will hold you to that.
Great. Absolutely, and I'll gladly meet with you, and we'll talk about any subject you want to.
Yes, we do, that we need to do, and definitely the west side, definitely.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Annette Harrell. I'm a resident in Asbury on the west side. I first would like to say to Mr. Moore, I think the last meeting, we kind of clashed a little bit. I felt like your voice, your tone was kind of like off with me. I was surprised, and it didn't set right with me.
Well, I apologize if I was.
Yes, thank you, because we've always, had respect for each other.
If I was, I apologize.
Okay. Now, the first thing I wanted to say is I wanted to actually piggyback off of what he said, was as far as us being united. A lot of people can say that they are willing to do things, they are excited to help and do different programs and stuff like that, etc. But it's a difference when you say it and somebody doesn't see it and it's not happening and they're living in it. And when I spoke about segregation that day, nobody said anything. Everybody got quiet. And if we all are not those type of people, somebody should have said something. And somebody should have actually, whether it was agreeing with me or they had a difference of opinion. Could have been either way. But until we recognize that it is still living and live, and it's all over the world, it's just not here, it's everywhere. We're not going to be able to move forward in a lot of things that we want to do, whether it's programs, opening up places, opening up different spots and areas. It's not going to happen. I had a young lady come to me, and she goes to the Asbury Park Middle School, and she said that They do not have cap and gowns to graduate in. If the city gets a certain amount of money, doesn't that money supposed to go to everybody in the city, not just selective places and things that they choose to pick to pay on or contribute money to? This is sad, and this is, yes, the Board of Education has a lot to do with that, but also the city does too. A child should never feel down and depressed because of that and feel like they are less than because of that, but it's happening in the school system. And I came to y'all before about Black history being taught to our children, and you said to go to the Board of Education. The city is just what it is. A city is supposed to be the whole. The city is supposed to set an example for everybody in the city. So us coming together, the council coming together about that, to the board and the Board of Education will make a change, because they should know about their culture just like every other culture that's out there.
Oh, okay, thank you, Mr. Earl. And again, I apologize. I remember the last meeting because we were going back and forth about the housing authority, and I thought Ms. Bennett had given you wrong information where we could overrule the housing authority. So I apologize if I was curt or rude with you. As far as the Board of Education not having caps and gowns for 8th grade, it's the first time I'm hearing it. Amy, you got a good relationship with the superintendent. Can you follow up on that?
Sure.
And also, the other thing was
I was actually going to have the student here, but unfortunately, she couldn't make it to speak.
Something about the school, about what they're being taught or something.
Yeah, Black history. I don't understand why. I know that's been brought up many times from several people.
We can reach out to Dr. Adams and get responses and go from there. I still think we have a very good Board of Education. There's 9 members. I think no problem bringing those questions here. We'll follow up, but I think you should also go to the Board of Education meeting. You probably do it.
Oh, I'm planning on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can get you before then.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
The one thing I'll say about Black History Month, well, I go to every Board of Education meeting, so I'll see you at the next one. And they have probably, quite frankly, the most elaborate Black History Month in any school district, I would say, in Monmouth County. I mean, they haven't had it the last 2 years because of COVID, but the event is normally at the Paramount with, at least 2,000 people at it. So my guess, holding them in the best possible light, is that they were not doing huge events, or at least in my experience with my kid in Bradley, they weren't doing huge events for anything, Black History Month, you name it. And I don't know about the middle school, but I can speak to Black History Month being extremely elaborate pre-COVID, and my guess is since COVID.
Now stuff is lifting.
Yeah, and I'll give you another example. We, I don't know if you were here, but Leisha was talking about now re-implementing a swimming program, because I'm sure you're aware many kids in Asbury Park can't swim, which is a sin when you're a couple blocks from the beach. So the city's implementing a swimming program with the Boys and Girls Club, and certainly in collaboration with the school district, something that was also shut down after COVID, something we've done before, bringing back, again, holding the school district in the best possible light. My guess is some of what you're saying is COVID related and less something else. But I will shoot a text to the superintendent and the board president and find out about the caps and gowns for the middle school.
Before you sit down, I just want to say a few things in reference to the West Side, and you talked a lot about what the mayor's doing. Both of you guys, husband and wife, we all have talked on numerous occasions, right? And you could come to me at any time, because I'll be all over the city. I put my life on the line a lot of times, talking to the fiber centers, all right? The Crips, the Bloods, is that what they are? Bloods? Yeah. I'll be out there, and I'll be on Atkins Avenue, and that's all we can do. We can try to encourage them. Because a lot of those people out there, they don't have that family parenthood, and they turn to their peers. That's why a lot of things are happening in this. For instance, over a girlfriend. one guy decided to kill another guy, you know, but there's some things we just don't have no control over, even though we work with the police department and we do the best we can. But we need to talk more, because maybe I missed something on my travel every day around Asbury Park, and especially the west side. Okay? No hard feelings, I just want to let you know that.
We just actually had a shooting last night.
I know,
So
I know.
unfortunately,
Believe me or
and the
not,
bullets ricocheted
Believe this or
and
not,
could
I
have
don't want
hit
to carry this
anybody.
on no longer. But
Yeah.
as soon as something happened, I'm the first one to get a call, not the police department. I think I spoke on that earlier, for some reason or another. And I guess I gotta extend myself a little bit more. And we'll talk, please.
We can do that. Just wanted to say something to Amy. Like you were saying about they do the big Black History thing down the beach. What I meant by that, I understand they do certain things like the Black History for the month, but our children need to know more than just that month. They need to actually know their roots, and they need to go as far as back as possible. Just like we get history on every other culture and race, and through the whole time of school, they should have the same equal opportunity with theirs.
No,
So
absolutely.
that's what
Fair
I was-
point. Yeah, totally fair point. And, you know, the board president is, her son is my son's best friend. And I certainly know the superintendent. If you want to just leave me your email or a cell number, I'm happy to coordinate a meeting with all of us to see how to work on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Linda Leahy, Fifth Avenue. Is this on?
Yeah.
Oh. I've spoken about this before, but I'm going to bring it up again because it's really a concern of people who live on Fifth Avenue on that end, the west side. There's too many speeders, there's too many potholes, and a lot of the neighbors they talk to me about it all the time, you know, we've got to do something about these people speeding. And I don't know, and also that the right side of the street has never been paved, and I can't figure that out. The one person that works in the city told me the city didn't have the money to finish it. But I have seen Third Avenue has been paved real nice, and Dunlewy on the other side has been paved very nice. So I don't know what the holdup is to finish Fifth Avenue. I think that we pay maybe a lot more taxes than some of the other streets, but you know, I never checked on that, but I just don't understand why they can't finish it. And I don't know who to complain to. I've talked to the gentleman that works with the roads. His name is Mark, I think. I forget what his name is. He works at City Hall. And I know they're going to do Memorial Drive over, they said. But anyway, that's just been a big concern. And I even thought of taking up a petition from all the residents on the street. And I thought maybe that would help. I don't know. And then I had am I out of time?
Not yet.
Less than a minute.
I wondered, after this incident at this shooting at the school in Texas, what kind of protection Asbury Park has for something like that? Whether it's a school or, you know, a business or even in here, you know, where there's a large crowd. Do they have any plans on how they could protect people? So I guess that's about it.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Before you got here, beginning of the meeting, we went over the shootings in both Buffalo and yesterday in Texas. There's a copy of our statement over the table if anybody wants to pick up. Copies over there if somebody wants to pick up on the way out. That will explain everything. We're not going to go through it again because it was quite lengthy. The police chief made a presentation what the police are doing and everything. As far as like Fifth Avenue, we grade all the streets as far as like their condition, and they're put in a list of which one should be paved next. And believe it or not, as bad as like Fifth is, you're not up there yet. Rita finally got Eighth up to the top of the list. Eighth is in the works. Now Fifth Avenue.
What's
now,
in the works?
8th Avenue.
Oh, 8th?
8th Avenue. So we apply for state money, which pays like 1/20th of the total cost, but it's still a good amount of money. So I don't know if 5th will be on the next list or not, but 5th Avenue, the reason it was partially paved on one side, I forget if it was the gas or the water company, put in new lines, and all they were required to do at that time was pave where they did. Since then, we passed an ordinance saying anybody who rips up any street has to repave curb to curb. So that will never happen again, unfortunately. Now, if we have potholes there, I'm sure Donna will get DPW there. And as far as speeding, you're right, that's something like the chief and his department's on as much as possible. It's not just on Fifth Avenue, it's throughout town. They can put the traffic control there, and it will give you the readout of like what the actual 85% percentile is of the traffic for like 2 weeks and everything. And that does slow down people for a while. The only thing that really slows down people in the long run is tickets. But truthfully, right now, you know, we've because of the shootings and everything, you're not going to be seeing many police officers giving out tickets because we're taking all of our manpower. And we're not like New York City or Jersey City or Hoboken where we have 2,000 police officers. We have a limited number of people on the shift. Right now, our main duty is protecting the children, the schools and everything. So anybody who was on patrol duty for speeding, everything has been rerouted to school surveillance these next couple of days and probably next couple of weeks with what's going on in the world. But once we get back to speeding, issuing tickets, I'm sure the chief will make sure Fifth Avenue's looked into. And petitions never hurt. There's power in numbers.
I can't hear everything you say.
I said petitions never hurt. There's power in numbers. So by all means, Linda, get Pat Candiano, get the Gibersons, get all your neighbors to sign a petition and submit it to us, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay. Well, how about speed bumps too?
Right now, there's no plans to put any speed bumps on Fifth Avenue. It's something we can look into.
Because it's such a straight drag.
So first, second, third,
just
fourth,
fly.
and Sunset, they are. You're absolutely right. Luckily, you're not a direct route in or out. So where Fourth and Third and Sunset are, and so that's why Fourth and Third do have the speed bumps. Fourth isn't down yet. They should be by Memorial Day, we were told, but Third Avenues are back down, and Fourth will be down soon because they were taken up because of the winter. But anything, and you know, you can stop by my house, you can call me, whatever you have, Linda.
A couple of years ago, I don't remember how long ago it was, but I was outside and two cars came around the corner from Bridge on my side of the street, and they drag raced all the way down to Memorial. I just stood there speechless.
And if there's not a police officer who just happens to be there, they get away with it. I mean, every now and
they
then.
get away with it because nobody sees them. So,
Every now and then I hear a motorcycle go by my house at 85 miles an hour and the guy's like just pushing it and hoping he doesn't get caught. I mean, you can't, what did Forrest Gump say? You can't fix stupid? I mean, I don't know.
You can't what?
You can't fix stupid.
Oh, I love that expression.
Okay, well,
It's my favorite.
I guess everybody applies it to me.
I'm going to get a t-shirt with that on.
Okay, Linda, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
You are? Yeah.
Motion to close.
Move to close.
Public portion is now closed. Okay, we're now on to the minutes. I have the Municipal Council Executive Meeting, May 11th minutes, and the Municipal Council Regular Meeting, May 11th minutes. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton? Yes. Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn? Yes. Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Thank you. We're now on to consent agenda resolutions. All matters listed on the consent agenda are presented collectively to City Council and will be considered for approval with one vote. These matters are considered to be routine in nature, and there will be no individual discussion of these items. If discussion is desired by one or more council members as to any particular item, then said item shall be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. On consent agenda tonight, we have resolutions 2022-234 through 2022-248. Councilmember Chapman will abstain from the Music Mondays application on 2022-234 special event applications. Do I have a motion?
Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton? Yes. Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn? Yes. Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're now on to individual resolutions. Resolution 2022-233, a resolution approving payment of bills. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second?
Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton? Yes. Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2022-241, a resolution authorizing the purchase of electrical supplies needed at Sunset Park.
Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2022-242, resolution authorizing purchase of wristbands for the beach department.
Move it.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn? Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2022-243, a resolution authorizing the purchase of fire department supplies and equipment from New Jersey Fire Equipment Company with Community Development Block Grant funds.
Move it. Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2022-244, a resolution authorizing transmission repairs to Kubota number 3 at the Department of Public Works.
Move it. Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2022-245, a resolution authorizing a professional services contract to T&M Associates for roadway improvements at Monroe Avenue, Comstock Street, and 8th Avenue.
Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2022-246, a resolution authorizing professional services contract to the Rogers Group for police training.
Move it.
Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
No.
Resolution 2022-247, a resolution amending a contract with Ingenuity Infrastructure for wastewater treatment plant review and alternative analysis to include laboratory sampling and testing costs.
Move it.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We are now into ordinances for introduction. I have ordinance 2022-7, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the City of Asbury Park, New Jersey, in order to repeal the existing provisions of Chapter 24 entitled Flood Damage Prevention in their entirety and establish a new Chapter 24 thereof concerning flood damage prevention, with a public hearing date of June 8th, 2022.
Move it. Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
On to ordinance 2022-8. This is a bond ordinance providing for various transportation utility improvements by and in the city of Asbury Park in the county of Monmouth in the state of New Jersey, appropriating $4,500,000, therefore, including grants from the New Jersey Department of Transportation in the aggregate amount of $917,432, and authorizing the issuance of $4,500,000 in bonds or notes to finance the cost thereof. This is a public hearing date of June 8th, 2022.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-9, ordinance of the City of Asbury Park amending and supplementing Chapter 7 entitled Traffic of the City of Code of Asbury Park in certain limited respects regarding the City Hall municipal parking lot, with a public hearing date of June 8th, 2022.
Move it.
Second?
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're now on to second reading, public hearing of ordinances. I have 2022-6, an ordinance establishing a restricted parking space for use by handicapped persons at property located at 1508 Grand Avenue in the city of Asbury Park, and amending and supplement Section 7-36 entitled Handicap Parking of Chapter 7, Traffic, of the revised general ordinances of the City of Asbury Park, New Jersey. Do we need an overview or no? Okay.
This is an ordinance creating a parking spot for a handicap space at
Resident.
1508 Grand Avenue. So if anybody'd like to question it or
Okay.
talk about it, you can get up to, do
Can
we
I
have to open it?
Yeah, can I have a motion to open up the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Now it's open if you want to
Yep.
talk about the handicap spot at 1508 Grand Avenue. Okay.
Move to close.
Second.
All in favor? Public hearing portion closed. Motion to adopt ordinance 2022-6?
Move to adopt?
Second? Second, thank you. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton? Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Aye, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.